In Activity 4, Shape, students first examine various blocks and sort them according to shape. Students are then challenged to think of real-world objects that are similar to some three-dimensional foam blocks. From the kit, you will need Activity Sheet 4, assorted blocks, assorted 3D foam shapes, and sorting trays. You will also need to provide property words chart and a felt tip marker. And to prepare for Session 1, make a copy of Activity Sheet 4 for each student. Remove the blocks from each team's bag and place them on each sorting tray. Each team of 4 will need one sorting tray with 16 blocks of assorted shapes and colors. And to begin Session 1, distribute a tray of blocks to each team and allow time for students to explore the different shapes on their trays. Review the shape words on the property words chart with the class. The students may offer formal names such as rectangle and circle, and less formal descriptions such as curvy or star-shaped. Accept all suggestions and add any new descriptions to the list. Define shape for the class as the outline of an object and hold up a square block. Ask students, what is this shape called? They will probably be able to identify the shape of the block as a square. Draw a picture of a square on the board and write the word square. Repeat this process for the triangle, circle, and diamond shapes. Next, tell students to sort their blocks into 4 piles according to shape. When they are finished, ask students, how many blocks are in each pile? What words can you use to describe the blocks? A student should identify 4 blocks in each pile. Note that students may be able to identify the shapes by their formal names or by more informal, descriptive words. Have teams mix up their piles of blocks and then challenge them to figure out another way to sort their blocks by shape. Students may sort their blocks into many different categories, such as squares and not squares, or rounded blocks and pointed blocks. And to conclude Session 1, distribute a copy of Activity Sheet 4 to each student. Have them complete question number 1, and then go over responses once they've finished. To prepare for Session 2, put the 3D foam shapes on 2 sorting trays and draw a chart with 5 columns labeled ball shapes, cylinder shapes, cube shapes, cone shapes, and brick shapes. And make sure to create the columns wide enough to accommodate student drawings. To begin Session 2, divide the class into 5 teams and then point to the 3D foam shapes. Hold up the ball and ask students, what is this shape called? They will probably be able to identify the shape as a ball. Once they've correctly identified the shape, point to the word ball in the chart on the board. Continue this process for each shape, first by holding up each object and then asking the students to identify it. Next, distribute one foam shape to each team and allow time for each student to examine it. Encourage students to think of some objects in the real world that are shaped similarly to their foam shape. As teams come up with real-world objects, have them draw pictures of them on the bottom of their activity sheets. Then hold up one team's 3D foam shape and ask them to share the list they've created of similarly shaped real-world objects. Have a volunteer from each team draw a picture of each of the objects in the correct column on the chart on the board. Write the name of each object below its picture, and then ask students, can anyone think of other objects in the real world with a similar shape? As students suggest new, similarly shaped objects, write these new names below their pictures. Then ask, what sense did we use to sort these objects by shape? Most students will say that they used sight or touch to sort the objects. If time allows, let students try to guess the shape of an object by closing their eyes and feeling it with their hands. Continue to hold one foam shape up at a time and review each team's list of real-world, similarly shaped objects. Have a student volunteer draw a picture of each of them in the appropriately labeled column and write the name of each item below the picture. To conclude the activity, return all blocks, trays, and foam shapes to the kit and make sure to leave the property words chart on display. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the science reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.